Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam, sir.
Okay. So hope everyone's okay now during this time. Dah nak puasa dah pun. But anyway, let me share. Sebelum I share, maybe cap juga lah kot. So for those yang I don't know, maybe terlupa ke. So as what we've done for the past U-Future ni kita akan guna U-Future for almost everything here. So for example untuk classes, in the online class punya section ni, I shared the live link, which is our Google Meet link kat sini. And then later on, once the video available, so every session I will record. So once the video available, I will share with you the link here as well untuk this particular day, which is today is 11th of April, right? So I will share the recorded link dekat sini. Alright, and for you guys yang belum sign the attendance, make sure record your attendance dekat dalam class attendance kat sini. Okay, I'm not sure whether the view will be the same, but for my view, I can see lah kat sini siapa yang dah submit registration, attendance macam yang pangkar-pangkar ni, maknanya either dia tak datang lagi ataupun memang dia tak record lagi. So for those yang belum, make sure check your attendance. So that's one part. What else? Dalam announcement ni pun ada, you can record your attendance from here as well. And on top of that, in the group juga, I shared the content. So far I've uploaded five files untuk lecture notes and 5 files for the past year questions. We're going to use a lot of past year questions obviously for our exercises. What else? And weekly discussions. Okay, I'm not sure why dalam yang diploma macam ni dia tak sort accordingly, dia tak sort ikut weeks. So you start from here on top, so you kena browse balik lah from week 1, week 2 and so on lah. Nanti you ikut top weeks, I akan post a few things every week. And lastly, in terms of assignments or quizzes, okay, so assignment quizzes akan ada kat dalam ni, continuous assessment. So it will be either assessment ataupun assignment kat sini lah. So I will post new assignments kat dalam ni for you to submit. Okay, so that's U-Future. Okay, by the way, I terlupa jangan lupa, I think ada masa lagi kot untuk apa nama benda tu, survey ni masih aktif ni, tak ada siapa respon lagi ni.
Entrance surveying.
So please, hari ni last day, 11th of April, please jawab entrance survey, and towards the end of the semester nanti in July jawab exit survey. Soalan ni sebenarnya sama entrance and exit, basically is the same question. Cuma dia nak tengok before you learn what will be your level, then after throughout the semester what will be your level. Okay, so ikutlah date ni. So today will be the final day, 11th of April. Lepas kelas sekejap lagi ke, by later, by tonight ke, please respond to the entrance survey, and later on towards the end of the semester nanti exit survey pula. Okay. So let's look at the content of investment management. I think most of you akan menggunakan kod yang sedia ada lah, which is FIN358. Once in a while, there will be those yang from previous cohorts yang menggunakan kod yang lama, FIN329. But like for example, last semester kita ada seorang, tak sure semester ni ada ke tak. But majority of you, 99% of you, 99.9% we will using this one lah, FIN358. Right? But I don't know. Yeah, my name is Muhammad Faizal. Tak sure semua pernah masuk my class or not, but This is my background, and those two at the bottom, my contacts. Okay, my phone number and also my email address as well. Okay, but as I said, kita akan utilize a lot of future. So dari segi assignments, dari segi contacts, point of contact semuanya kita akan gunakan future. Okay, bear with me one second sekejap. I need to go somewhere just a bit, sekejap je. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so FIN358 basically it's all about investment decisions, right? So nanti you baca. So we have 11 topics altogether. Just bear with me. Some of the topics ni maybe kita takkan go through in class. Tapi I will provide with you all the relevant notes. So for example, topic 1, 2, 3 ni, I will talk about this very briefly. This first three topic ni semua teori. I pernah je dulu, saya tak ingat bila few semesters ago, I memang totally exclude je maknanya. You have to read on your own, but I started to incorporate a bit lah. The first few topic ni I summarizekan dia in one slides. Okay, and for today, what I punya plan is to complete the first three topics ni I summarizekan, and then bond ni kita akan try to cover at least half of the sections. Sebab bond ni pun quite a lot kat sini. And then we have the preferred and common stocks, topic 5 and 6 respectively. And then we have topic number 7. So topic 4, 5, 6 and 7 ni memang mostly calculations lah. 4, 5, 6 and 7 mostly calculations. And then we have fundamental and technical analysis. Then we have topic number 10, derivatives, and lastly unit trust. So unit trust ni pun another theory punya sections lah. Okay. So this is based on last semester. Bear in mind that we are in the online distance learning punya mode. Okay, usually we will have final examination. 2 semesters ago, there's no final assessment pun. Everything was based on ongoing assessment 2 semesters ago when we had our first online distance learning ODL 2 semesters ago. Last semester, they add on the final assessment. Okay, tak sure paper lain lah, but most of the papers last time memang melibatkan final assessment whereby we have the multiple choice question kalau tak salah 60 marks tapi the weight is 40%. Alright, so I use the previous semesters punya distribution marks. Okay, kalau ada changes nanti I'll let you know, but this is based on last semesters punya weightage ataupun distributions. Okay, so untuk last semester dia punya test element was only 10%, right? And then the individual assignments 20%. right? And then group assignment 30%. So group assignment is quite new lah masa tu. So a total of 60%. Basically 60% is ongoing assessment, so 40% is the final. Okay, 60-40. Selalunya 40-60 kalau you remember lah, the traditional weightage. The ongoing assessment yang 40, the final yang 60. Okay, but last semester dia switch, so final only 40, so the ongoing assessment yang 60. Right, so dari segi test tu as always lah, cuma kalau ikut weightage ni 10%, so meaning we gonna have only one test. Okay, one midterm test je. So the rest of the topics dia akan buat dalam bentuk assignments. Okay, either individual ataupun group. Right, and then final assessment lah, like I said. I'm not sure this semester lah, but as of last semester, they use multiple choice questions, answers directly in my group, like dalam U Future as well. In the U Future as well. Okay, so that's a bit about the introduction of FIN358. Ada soalan nak tanya?
No, sir.
Okay. So if there's no question, like I said, I dah summarisekan a bit the first two topics into one slide. So I just pick and choose which I think information dia relevant. Kalau yang lain tu masuk tak relevant, I mean, I try to summarize it, but for you guys, you still have to go through balik lah the relevant topics for every section. So topic 1, topic 2, and topic number 3. So for topic number 1, it's all about what is investment. It's all about, okay, the intro to investment. So investment can be viewed as, so this is the definition, is sacrifice of present consumption. So meaning if you have, let's say, 10,000 ringgit, okay, instead of you use ataupun you utilize that money for your own personal expenditures, okay, instead of doing that, you put your money, that 10,000 ringgit, into an investment platform, okay, ataupun investment outlets, with the expectation of a handsome return in the future ataupun a higher returns in the future. So that what is meant by investment. You sacrifice your present consumption, so maknanya you resist the temptation to spend. Instead of you have 10,000, you can spend, you can shop, you can do whatever you want. Instead, you put that 10,000 into an investment. And obviously, when you invest, you expect to have a good returns for the future. So that is investment is all about. Okay, and in financial point of view, when we talk about investment, besides we put money into a certain platforms, contohnya macam kalau you pergi bank, you can put in your FD, for example. Alternatively, you can use that money to purchase financial products. Okay, in finance, we have multiple types of financial instruments that you can choose as part of your investment. Okay, and again, when you purchase this kind of financial products, your expectation still be the same. You want a favorable future returns. Okay, in short, investment basically utilization of current money, okay, current income, current fund that you have, with that expectation to make more money in the future. Okay, and it can be concluded in this one final sentence here. Foregoing the present consumption in expectation for having a greater consumption opportunities in the future. If you have 1,000, you want to have 1,200 ringgit in 1 year's time, contohnya. If you have 10,000, you want to have, I don't know, 12,000 next year. So that's investment. Okay. So this would be the investment process, or even this is actually a portfolio, because when we want to do investment, we will not put every money that we have in one investment. We have to split it. We have to diversify it. So this is the process of diversification and also the process of investment. So we have 4 stages here, 4 steps. The very first step is to determine your objective, because everyone will have different objectives. Okay, and this objective can be split into few horizon. Okay, short-term basis, medium-term, and obviously long-term objectives. Short-term, it can be something that you want to gain within 3 years. Okay, something that you want to achieve within 3 years. For example, yang paling common short-term objectives, either to purchase a car, for example. Your objective is to have money to purchase a car. So sebab nak beli kereta, you need for example, down payment for a few thousands. Okay, so within 1 year you can achieve that down payment punya objectives. Contohnya lah. Medium term, maybe for example, to purchase a house. Okay, to pay a deposit for house, let's say for a 500,000 worth ataupun value of a house you nak beli 500,000. So you need to put a 10% down payment. So 10% of 500 is 50,000. So you set lah medium term kalau sempat lah medium term. Medium term usually between 3 to 5 years. Okay, atau sometimes 3 to 7 years for medium term in order to get that down payment to purchase a house. And when we talk about long term, usually when we invest for long term, usually kita akan tengok 7 or more years. Okay, 7 or more years. So example of long term objectives would be maybe for your retirement. Okay, ni nak beli kereta, car. This is to buy house, katakan. So long term usually melibatkan, let's say, retirement, when you want to retire. So obviously when you retire, you need funds to cover your expenses during your retirement kan. Okay, so you need to set that as part of your objectives juga lah. So for every aspects of your objectives ni, there will be a suitable instruments ataupun investment that you can choose from. So once you set your objectives, and obviously when you set objective, you kena letak some restriction jugalah. Some of your objectives ni ada restriction dia. So you kena specify also your restrictions. So once you have this first step, next you move on to analysis. And this is what we will do throughout the semesters. Okay, all related to analysis of investment. Okay, sebab dalam investment ada macam-macam jenis. Okay, especially when we talk about financial instruments, that's what we will go through a lot this semester. Okay, to analyze the investment. So this investment analysis akan allow us to do research and also analyze the potential investment that we can choose. And once you have this, okay, kita dah pilih mana yang sesuai, mana yang tak sesuai. Then step number 3, we do the selections. Okay, we do the selections. So sepatutnya selection of securities is part of portfolio construction juga sebenarnya. Because the final step nanti, this is basically the process of monitoring. Okay, once you dah select based on your analysis, you dah form your portfolio. And then lastly, you're gonna monitor, okay, the performance of your selections of investment, whether they perform or not. Okay, kalau tak perform, you have to change your investment. So you kena jual current investment and then you have to purchase a new one, for example. Okay, ni ada cerita lah tadi a bit. You go through balik, valuations. The concept of valuation, you're gonna look ataupun you're gonna see a lot of this term, intrinsic value. Okay, and starting topic bond onwards lah, you can see a lot of intrinsic value. So by doing the investment analysis, what we're gonna do is to compare the intrinsic value, which is the actual value, versus the market values. Okay, and when we do comparison, we want to see whether the investment that we want to do, whether it is undervalued or not. Okay, so this is the selection part, whereby when we talk about under ataupun overvalue, we have decisions. Okay, so for overvalue, okay, into overvalue, we will not buy, we don't buy the investment, because when we talk about overvalue, basically it means expensive. Okay, so obviously we don't buy when it's expensive. Okay, but if you are holding the stocks ataupun the investment now, this is the time for us to sell. Okay, if it's overvalued. But when we do the analysis and we found out that it is currently undervalued. Okay, undervalued in simpler terms, it means cheap. Okay, so it means we should buy the investment because it's now cheap as compared to the market. But if you are holding the stocks ataupun holding any investment, you don't sell it. Okay, in other words, you hold, you jangan jual. Keep dulu until the price recover. Okay, so that's valuation. And don't worry kalau you tak ingat sekarang, we're gonna revisit this when we do respective instruments. Sebab kita ada banyak instruments, we're going to revisit this concept again. And you're gonna see this a lot of times. Okay, a lot of times. And lastly, we do the portfolio construction. So when we talk about portfolio constructions, it simply means if we have a certain amount of money, let's say if you have 150,000 as your fund, we need to segregate this 150,000 into several types of instruments. Okay, so dalam case ni kita after the analysis, after everything done, kita split 150,000 into 4 different instruments. For example, kita invest 50%, 50,000 of this 150,000 in stocks market, and then 40,000 in bonds, and so on. Okay, so we will not go into detail to be honest with you, because if we want to study how to differentiate or how to segregate in details, we are supposed to learn about portfolio management. Okay, for diploma level memang kita tak ajar lah portfolio management, right? So for those interested, maybe nanti later on during your degree time, especially kalau you ambil BBA in finance lah, you will learn about portfolio management, how to actually segregate this 150,000 into different investment here, because we have a technique to do this. Kita tak boleh simply ambil 50, 40, 30 sebab dia ada calculations involved sebenarnya lah. Alright, so the relationship between risk and return, as you can see here, the higher the risk, the higher the potential returns. Okay, and the starting point is from here, which is what we call as the risk-free rate return. The risk-free rate is not starting from zero. There will be some element yang akan ada, give you a minimum level of rate ataupun level of return. Usually when we talk about risk-free rate, dia akan diassociatekan dengan Malaysian government securities. Okay, Malaysian government securities yang akan diconsider sebagai risk-free rates. Okay, instruments issued by Malaysian government, they will offer you a certain rates of return. Okay, let's say 2%, maybe contoh, and dia akan start from 2%. So as a low risk investment, sebab Malaysian government security sebenarnya memang risk free ataupun 0% risk, zero risk investment. Okay, it is labeled as zero, meaning the tendency untuk default tu is 0%. Okay, so that's why as a starting point, dia tak akan start dengan 0% return. As an investor, you can get a guaranteed so-called guaranteed returns in the form of Malaysian government securities. So that's why dia akan start something below here, and then dia akan move up according to the risk. Okay, so in terms of the instruments, kalau risk-free rate ni memang government securities lah. Okay, government securities together with deposits, macam FD for example, akan ada dekat sini. Preferred and bond, dia dah masuk towards middle risk. Okay, and then they move up to the higher risk of investment, which is in the form of futures option dengan common stock. So futures option ni, you can see it under the derivatives. Okay, derivatives market is part of high risk investment. So these are the risk profiles, and the higher the risk, the higher the potential the returns. It's not guaranteed, by the way, walaupun dia higher risk macam dalam common stock ni, but it's not guaranteed for you to get high returns. But potentially to get high return is there. Macam tapi kalau deposit ni, tak mungkin dia akan dapat high returns lah. FD tak mungkin offer sampai 20% returns, for example. So FD rate maybe around 3-4% je kat sini. Okay, in order to get higher returns, you kena put your money in this area lah. Okay, remember you have your objectives tadi. Okay, you have objective short term, medium and long term. So in order to achieve your targets for objective tu, you need to know the rate of return. And if your objective is too high, you tak boleh lah expect you invest in FD je. If your intention to get more money for certain objectives, you have to willing to take extra risks in order to achieve that target. So that's the things that you need to consider lah when we talk about investment alternatives. So, and all depends on the types of investor. Kita ada tiga jenis investor kat sini. Risk averse, risk indifferent dengan risk taker. So obviously the risk taker is the most courageous ataupun yang paling berani sekali nak ambil risiko. Risk averse yang paling kurang ambil risiko, yang risk indifferent in the middle. So risk averse the conservative type. Dia akan hanya invest in high return investment kalau dia boleh yakin dapat high returns. Kalau tak, dia takkan invest. Okay, and they will try to get every ringgit they invested back. So dia tak willing not willing to lose capital. So every ringgit yang dia invest, dia nak dapat balik for every ringgit. Dia tak sanggup rugi walaupun RM1. Okay. So that's risk averse. For the second part is risk indifferent ataupun neutral. So untuk these types of investor, dia sanggup ambil risiko walaupun investment dia akan dapat balik. The principle will be dia dapat balik lah every single RM1. Dia tak kisah tak dapat untung, janji principal covered. So they're willing to take that risk. Okay, so they are indifferent. Tapi yang agresif ni, they are risk taker. They are willing to accept even low returns as long dia boleh potentially to get high returns kind of investment. Okay, so that's our first topic. Ada soalan tak?
Sir,
Ya.
itu kan macam you take a risk kan, yang risk taker tu means yang option dengan future, right? So
Option stocks.
So maksudnya dekat situ jangan ambil long investor or short investor.
Ada je yang short term investor but willing to take risk. Contohnya dalam stock market kan, dalam stock market ada banyak jenis investor. Ada yang day trader, ada yang long term investor. So ada je yang day trader ni memang willing to take risk sebab the price market kan fluctuates kan. So they are willing to take the plunge kalau harga share tu turun, because dengan big investment dia boleh reduce kan, okay, dia punya capital tu within few hours je. So that's the kind of investment yang sesuai untuk this particular person. Macam kalau compare dengan FD yang memang extreme you letak, you kena tunggu sampai 6 bulan, 1 year, then baru you dapat your returns. Okay, and the return pun memang already around 3-4%. So it all depends on types of investor dengan produk yang sesuai dengan dia punya karakteristik tu lah.
Okay, kalau macam option, dia kan ada expiry date kan? So macam mana pula untuk long term, boleh ke?
Sebab options you're talking about option ke futures? Kalau option memang dia short term, kalau futures dia ada slightly longer terms. So untuk derivatives dia depends on the purpose. Sebab untuk option, futures and options dia ada dua purpose. Satu sama ada for risk management, satu lagi for profit making. So it all again depends on the objectives of that particular individual. Dia nak buat apa. Sebab kalau macam options memang ada expiry, but again if the time is correct, you can generate profit juga if you are lucky in terms of the timing with the price movement again.
Oh, all right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, give me 1 second sekejap Okay, sorry hujan kat luar. Anyway, so that's topic number 1 intro to the investment. So for topic number 2, we're going to discuss about the alternatives or the options when we want to do investment. Okay. So first part nanti baca balik ni the difference between systematic dengan unsystematic risk. Okay, so in short, systematic risk means risk that is undiversifiable. Or in other words, we cannot control. So when we talk about undiversifiable, meaning how good we diversify, how good we try to eliminate the risk, we simply cannot eliminate the risk. Okay, tapi kalau dia unsystematic risk, it is a diversifiable. Meaning we can control. How we can control is by diversification. Okay, diversification. So contoh kat sini lah kalau systematic, contoh-contohnya usually related to external. Okay, external risk. Example here, economic recession, just like today lah apa yang kita nampak during this pandemic and COVID-19. This is example of a systematic risk. We cannot do a lot about it. This is external factors. Contoh lagi apa kat sini? War and so on, natural disaster. Okay, kalau dia unsystematic, something yang kita boleh eliminate through diversification, usually relates with internal risk. Okay, so mismanagement, consumer preferences and so on. Okay, and when we talk about the types of assets that we can invest in, we can split it into 2 categories. First is financial assets. The next one is real assets. Okay, the difference between the two is more on the physical aspects. For real asset, usually it is physical. When I said physical, it means we can literally see it, we can touch it because it's physical. Okay, contoh kat sini property, real estate, rumah, shop lots, everything you can see physically, benda tu ada kat situ. They have an address for it, for example. Antiques, chattels, ni termasuklah barang-barang antik, paintings yang expensive contohnya, semua masuk dalam ni. Gold coins ataupun coins itself, not specifically gold sometimes gold coins. Kalau tak gold, maybe old coins ataupun antique coins. Okay, a lot of things lah under dalam category of antiques and chattels. And also gold. Okay, very physical. So all of these are example of real assets. Okay, but for us, untuk topik investment ni, kita tak akan discuss in detail how to evaluate, because all of this evaluation of all three ni, macam gold ni dia adalah prices dia kan, tapi untuk real estate dengan antique and chattel ni, there's no market that will determine. It all depends on demand and supply of the goods. Okay, antiques especially. Macam mana nak determine value dia sekarang? It all depends on the kita panggil apa? Interest from other people. Kalau lagi ramai orang suka, mungkin lagi demand dia lagi besar, and the higher the price, and so on, and vice versa lah. So kalau tak ada demand, the price will drop. But for financial assets, okay, dia ada a lot more factors to it lah. Selain daripada demand and supply, there are a lot of other factors. So this is the one yang kita akan discuss in details in terms of valuations. So we have treasury bills, common stock, bond, preferred, savings, unit trust, and also derivatives obviously. So setiap satu ni ada certain topicsnya. Macam derivatives tadi kalau you perasan, this will be discussed in topic 10. Unit trust, it will be discussed in topic 11. Bond topic 4, preferred topic 5, common stock topic 6. Lebih kurang macam itulah. It will be scattered throughout our syllabus, and we will discuss accordingly lah how to measure the financial assets. So the difference between the two, okay, I always said tadi, real asset always physical and tangible, meaning you can see, can touch even. However, between the two, real assets is less liquid as compared to financial assets. When I said less liquid, it means slightly longer time taken to either to buy or even to sell the items. Okay, example kat sini lah, land, building, antiques, and so on. Okay, it's not easy to liquidate, meaning kalau you nak jual cepat, sometimes boleh, but you have to sacrifice in terms of the value. Rumah contohnya ada, you nak jual pada certain price, kadang-kadang tak ada takers because of the economic situation, tak ada takers. Tapi kalau you urgently need the money, you kena jual below market price. Then baru ada orang interested to buy. So that's the thing that you need to remember lah kalau you invest in real assets. However, for financial assets, it's only represented by certificates. It's just a piece of paper je sebenarnya. And on that certificates, it will mention about the claims that you can have. Okay, macam contohnya, if you have a bond, for example, bond salah satu financial assets, in that particular bond, they will specify the value of the certificate, when is the maturity, okay, how much actually the returns, okay, so all of those will be mentioned in the certificate, which actually a claim, okay, that you can have on that particular organization yang jual, okay, that sell that instruments, okay, and you have technically rights to get your portion ataupun your shares with that particular certificates. Okay, so that's topic number 2. Kalau you nak baca in details setiap satu ni, again, please look in chapter 2 punya notes. Ada cerita a bit lah for every sections. This is just the summary. And one of the important section of investment is in the financial assets. Okay, ada banyak kat sini, treasury bill, common stock, and so on. And majority of these transactions happen in the financial markets. Okay, derivative dekat financial markets. Unit trust pun ada element of financial market kat situ. Preferred, bond, common stock, all of these happen in the financial market. So dekat Malaysia, the financial markets controlled by two parties lah, I can say. The governor ataupun the institution that govern the financial markets is Securities Commission. Okay, Securities Commission, and the platform that we have in doing the transaction is Bursa Malaysia. So that's why in topic number 3, it's all about securities market ataupun the financial market. Okay, where this investment can be done in terms of buying and selling of instruments. So in Malaysia, the financial markets can be split into actually more than these two lah, tapi kita boleh tengok juga lah. We have, sepatutnya dia ada satu lagi, offshore. Satu lagi kat sini, tapi kita tak discuss that offshore here lah. Right, so literally kita boleh split it into two, the money market and also the capital market. Right. Under the money market, we have the marketable securities. Kalau you ingat tadi yang government MBS, yang Malaysian government securities, transacted in here in the marketable securities. And on top of that, we have forex juga, foreign exchange. Okay, one criteria of money market, this is short term. This is short term instruments. But for capital market, okay, this is more towards long term. Okay, towards long term. So for example, stock market. Stock market, this is where we trade, buy and sells of shares. Okay, shares of company A, B, C, and D, contohnya. Right? All nowadays can be done online pun to do transactions for the share markets. Okay, and it happens again in Bursa Malaysia lah. Then we have the bond markets, whereby companies can issue bonds to raise fund. And again, investor can utilize it in order to invest their money. And also derivatives. Sometimes derivative ni dia keluarkan daripada capital to become independent as a individual market derivatives. Okay, but anyway, we have two types of market here, primary and secondary. So what's the difference between the two? Primary is for new instruments. This is for new instruments. So meaning when the company wants to sell their instrument for the very first time, dia berlaku di primary markets. Okay, kalau stock market ni, when they want to issue for the very first time, dia panggil IPO kan, initial public offerings. So IPOs ni akan berlaku in the primary markets. But once dia dah jual to the public, and public already owns the shares, and this public want to sell to another investor, for example, dia akan jual dekat secondary market. So this is also known as a use instrument lah. So instrument yang sudah dijual in the market and they want to sell to other investors, it will happen in the secondary market. Okay, so the purpose of secondary market is to transact the existing shares which already in the market. Okay, it can be stocks, it can be bond as well, or even derivatives. Okay. So stock market is a place where equity fund is raised. Okay, equity, when we talk about stock, it always relates to equity, the ownership of the company, hence the name shares too. Shares. So the stock market is where the shares in companies are bought and sold, providing companies opportunities to raise capital. And at the same time, investors to own a share. When they own a share, obviously their intention is to get returns. Okay, so contohnya macam ni lah. Kat tengah kita ada stock market kat tengah-tengah ni. So we have the deficit dekat sini. Deficit is the one yang tak cukup funding. Remember, the stock market allows companies to raise capital. So what they do, these deficit parties, the deficit ini, company yang tak cukup funding, sell their shares. Okay, in the stock market. So dia jual kat sini. And who are the buyer? Those with surplus. Surplus ni orang yang ada excess funds. So what they do? They will buy the shares from the securities market. Okay, so kalau tak ada securities market, agak susah untuk these parties to meet these other parties. So this SM stock market ni basically is a platform whereby the deficit and surplus unit to meet. So the deficit unit akan jual dalam stock market the shares, and surplus will go into the stock market to buy the shares. So what's the purpose of deficit unit to sell? Basically to raise fund. Dia nak duit to raise fund. Bila dia jual, dia akan dapat duit kan. When you sell goods, you akan dapat inflows kan, you dapat income. And the money comes from where? From the buyer, which is the investor. So what's the purpose of investor? To get returns. Okay, they want to get returns lah. So this is where the importance of stock market as a meeting point between deficit and also the surplus parties. Okay, and who manage this securities market? The platform ni tadi own dia is Bursa Malaysia owner dia, tetapi governed by Securities Commission. Okay, so the stock exchange is called Bursa Malaysia. Tapi yang manage ataupun yang letak all the regulations, yang monitor is under Securities Commission. Okay, not Bank Negara Securities Commission. So here you can see lah, the exchange kita ada Bursa Malaysia, dia ada timing dia untuk kita kita trade. Okay, the old and the current one, dia sekarang pun dah ada satu lagi kat sini kalau tak salah, we have another one, lead market, cuma it's a different market altogether. Tapi majority of experience ataupun with a long history of track records akan trade dalam main market. Kalau company yang baru ataupun technological base, dia akan masuk dalam ACE market. So what are traded in Bursa Malaysia? All of these yang kita discuss tadi. The common stock, the shares, the preferred stocks. Nanti later on kita akan discuss about warrants as well, bonds, derivatives, REITs juga, and also ETFs. Okay, cuma tak semua kita akan discuss in details. Okay, part and partial, majority of it, yes, kita akan discuss ikut topics. Okay, so that's topic number 3. Okay, almost 3 juga ni. So that's the summary summary of the first 3 topics. So hopefully later on nanti you can try to go through for the first 3 topics. Ada soalan tak so far? Before we move on to the 4th topic. Okay. Nampak macam cepat tapi the 7 weeks that we have tu memang cukup je untuk discuss all the calculation parts. Sebab some topics tu requires quite long time. For example, bond ni, dia akan perlukan half of session today and the full session next meeting nanti, masa our second meeting. Okay, sebab bond tu agak panjang topiknya. Right, ada berapa slides ni? Nampak kat sini. Ada 46 slides tapi it will take quite long time jugalah to explain. But before we move on to bond, maybe we can take 5 minutes break. Okay, 5 minutes break before we go into details. What is bond? Why we need the bond? Who are the parties involved in the bond? And obviously, we're going to touch a bit about the valuation, how to value bonds. So we will see, at least we're going to have, 4 or 5 types of measurements to measure the bonds punya value. And from there, we can decide whether the investment for the bond too, is it worth it or not, depending on a few factors. And once we've discussed all about that, nanti by that time kita dah habis lah. We're going to continue with the second parts of bond valuations next week pula, bila kita cerita pasal convertible bond ni pula. Right. So for today, we will not go until convertible. Okay, cuma kita akan cover the first half sahaja from the bond sections. Okay, so let's take 5 for a while. All right, let's look into topic number 4, bond. So bear with me, another, I don't know berapa lama lagi. Still akan discuss about theory of bond. As you all know, we've discussed earlier in the summary of topic 1 to 3. Bond is one of the instruments ataupun one of the securities investment which is part of financial assets. Okay, financial assets. So by definition, bond refers to, okay, there's a few keywords here. First, it is a long-term, okay, long-term instruments. So when we say long-term instruments, this will be roughly around 5 to, I don't know, maximum 40 years maybe. Okay, investment. Okay, 5 to 40 years. So it is long-term instrument. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is a fixed income security. So what does it mean by fixed income? The return, or the rate of return is fixed. Okay, the rate of return is fixed. So meaning throughout these 5 to 40 years, we can predict how much actually the rate of return will be because it will not change. Okay, it will not change for this long-term period. So for investors' point of view, bond would be suitable for those not looking for a fluctuates investment. So maknanya for those yang expect a high return kind of investment, the highest possible returns, bond would not be one of the best investment. However, in setting up a portfolio, bond must be available as part of our investment because dia allow us some dia bagi kita opportunity to get a certain amount of return yang fixed. Okay, as a portfolio, it's good to have some yang ada fixed income punya elements because we know for sure we will get a certain amount yang fixed. However, we need to add on dengan something yang risky a bit, especially in equity punya form, so that we can get a potentially higher returns. And this yang fixed ni can cover up any shortfalls of our investment yang rugi. Okay, so that's the purpose of this fixed income security lah. And the issuer, dalam case ni we have two parties. We have the issuer, which is the companies, and also the investor. Dalam case ni investor is known as bondholders. So issuer agreed to pay the income payments. So income payment ni selalunya datang dalam bentuk interest. Here we call them the coupon. Okay, kita akan bayar coupon. Kita tu maknanya issuer. Company yang issue bond agreed to pay income payments, which is in the form of coupon interest, for a specified period. Again, dalam tempoh 5 to 40 years, but it's either annually or even semi-annually. And at the end of the contract, after 5 to 40 years, this particular issuer akan repay the principal. Okay, so a lot of things dalam definition ni sahaja. Okay, they will repay the principal at maturity. So as I said earlier, bond is a form of investment which have two parties. The first one is the issuer, bond issuer, and the second is the bondholder. Bondholder siapa? This is the investor. Okay, also known as fixed income securities because the payments are fixed, as I mentioned juga. And this is part of the introduction tadi. Borrowers agree. So who are the borrower? The issuer. Issuer agrees to repay the fixed amount of principal at the predetermined maturity date. So which will be the maturity date? This one, 5 to 40 years. So here are the features. Okay, some of them I mentioned tadi, but let's look at the details of the features of a bond. Number one, okay, the main reason why people ataupun investor want to invest in bond because of this element, the coupon interest. Okay, so coupon is the amount of annual interest income. So how to get the coupon punya values? Basically, we take coupon rate, we multiply with principal. Okay, ataupun par value. That's how to get the coupon amount ataupun coupon interest. Okay, coupon rates multiply with the principal values ataupun par value. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the measurement. Okay, this is one of the measurement that we will calculate later on, which is to calculate the current yield. This is the rate of return. When we talk about yield, this is actually rate of return, ROR ni, rate of returns, whereby we take the interest income, the annual interest income. Kalau ingat tadi, annual interest income is coupon. So this is basically, we take the coupon values and we compare against the current market price. Okay, against the current market price. So that's why nanti kalau you tengok kejap lagi formula for current yield is actually coupon divided by market price. Okay, I will go again for this formula later. Okay, but by the definition, we can see the formula, the coupon rates, bukan rate coupon of payments bahagi dengan market price to get the current yield. Next, the next features ataupun next terms that you need to familiar with is the principal tadi. Principal or the par value. So here we will assume, this is assumption, our principal would be RM1,000. Okay, so maknanya every certificates of bond nilai dia adalah RM1,000 when they first launch. And this RM1,000 will be used to determine the coupon tadi. Remember, the coupon is based on principal. And second function of the par value 1,000 ni, this amount will be repaid at maturity. Okay, so meaning regardless of the price of the bond throughout 5 to 40 years already, but at maturity, the price of bond will be at RM1,000. Okay, because the price of bond boleh fluctuate juga, sama macam share, the price can go up, go down, then 1,000, go up again. But at the end of the contract, during the maturity, the price will go back to RM1,000. Okay, so that's the purpose of principal. So maturity date is the date when a bond matures and principal must be repaid. So this is the ending of the contract, maturity date. So bond akan end at this date and the whole principal must be repaid by the issuer during this date. So meaning kalau dia 10 tahun katakanlah, the contract is 10 years, right? So for every year tu, the issuer only pay interest, only pay coupon. So the principal tu only will be repaid at maturity. Okay, as compared to kalau you ambil loan dengan bank katakan for 10 years, katakanlah ada loan 10 years, you akan bayar every year ataupun every month tu the principal plus interest every month. Cuma portion of principal interest tu different according to the timing tu lah. Okay, the earlier part selalunya you bayar interest a lot, towards the end tu baru you solve the principal. Okay, tapi untuk bond dia akan bayar interest je dulu for the first how many years punya contract. During maturity, one off, dia akan bayar everything on one go. So that's bond. Okay, so ada pros and cons kat situ lah. Okay, so these are among the bonds yang ada, the term, serial and note. Nanti kita discuss in terms of the types of bond later. Okay, the terms, as I said, it can be annually, semi-annually. And another measurement for bond, we can calculate using YTM, yield to maturity. So this is another element that we can measures the performance, okay, the yield, okay, and kita akan calculate this one based on assumption that kita akan keep until it mature. What would be our returns? Okay. So this is how it works. Again, kalau you still cannot imagine how it works. So it all started with issuer. And who are the issuer? Usually a company. Katakanlah company A. Okay. They need a capital. Let's say capital dia, let's say 100 juta, 100 million worth of capital. Let's say RM. Okay. And one of the option to get this 100 million is by issuing bonds. Dia jual bond ni. So this company A needs 100 million, let's say for new projects. Katakan they have a new project, but they need 100 million capital. Okay, and they have insufficient funds. Okay, fund dia tak cukup ataupun dia tak nak guna dia punya own capital 100%, they want to borrow a certain portion of it. So maybe katakanlah the total cost of the project is 200 million, 100 million dia guna duit dia sendiri, dan 100 million dia nak pinjam. Okay, so this 100 million capital requirements, what they do, they issue bond. Dia jual bond. Bond tu, like I said, is just a piece. Dia bukan satu keping lah, tapi dia ada banyak keping of certificates. And one certificate value dia RM1,000. So in order to get 100 million, you have to divide lah by 1,000 ringgit each. Then you get how many pieces of certificates or pieces of bonds that you need to sell. And when they sell this bond, again dia akan go into the financial market tadi. Okay, dia adalah agent dia untuk dijual. And who are the buyers? The investors. Okay, investors are those with excess fund. So technically, the issuer is the borrower, peminjam. The investor yang memberi pinjaman, lenders. Okay, the company ini tak pergi dekat bank. They go for the financial market and issue bond. So when they sell their bond, so in the certificate, it mentions what would be the interest rates. Remember the coupon tadi? Dia akan mention berapa persen coupon dia. Katakanlah coupon dia, I don't know, 6% contoh. So this 6% coupon yang ada dalam certificate tu, it will be fixed sepanjang tempoh kontrak ni berlaku. Let's say 10 years. Okay, so issuer have to pay coupon of 6% for 10 years to the investor. And this 6% is fixed. Okay, this is fixed. Okay, so every year for 10 years, dia akan bayar kupon je. 6% of 100 million, katakanlah 100 million kan. So 6% of 100 million is 6 million kan. So 6 million ringgit every year borrower kena bayar kepada investors. Obviously, it's not one investor lah. There's a lot of investors. And you akan dapat lah according to your portion berapa persen. So kalau katakanlah you invest 10,000 ringgit, so 10,000 ringgit darab dengan 6%, berapa tu?
Saya nak tanya lah.
Yeah.
Investor dia beli, kira dia bagi pinjam tu, dia ada tempoh dia lah kan sebenarnya.
Yeah.
Ni
So
sama tak? Kalau macam jual beli saham?
Tak sama sebab saham tak ada
Tak sama.
maturity.
Oh.
Saham, if you talk about shares, share market, shares we don't have maturity. So as long as you hold the shares, you akan dapat your dividend every year. Katakanlah kalau you tak jual. Tapi for bond, you can keep. Tapi after maturity, the bond new contract tu akan terminate. Right? So if you ask me, is it the same macam share? Tak, dia tak sama. It's a totally different products altogether. The mechanism tak sama, dia punya nature tak sama. It's totally different lah, I can say. Cuma you can see the parties mungkin nampak macam sama lah. Dia ada company, then dia ada investor. Cuma the nature is not the same. Satu fix. Kalau share tak ada fix. You takkan tahu berapa dividend you. It all depends on the performance of the company. Kalau company tu performs well, high profits, then they may give you higher dividend. Tapi kalau company tu rugi tahun tu, mungkin dia tak bagi dividend. Okay, but for this, regardless you profit ke, you rugi ke, you have to pay coupon fix. So that's bond. That's bond punya ni lah. Okay.
Tapi nak tanya satu, thank you sir. Macam mana kita nak tahu company tu dia issuekan bonds?
Dia
Kalau
akan mention lah dalam dia punya Dia punya ni, you can there's a lot of news pun kalau dicerita pasal bond. Tapi ni news je lah, tak sempat nak cari kat mana. By the way, bila kita cerita pasal bond ni, is either the government yang issue bond. So contohnya macam ni, nation government bonds. Di Edge ni 1 week ago cerita dia dah nation government dah issue quite a lot, 160 billion worth of bonds. Okay, so kalau government kita panggil dia sovereign bond. Tak ada kat sini, tak apa. And usually kalau ni company yang besar yang ada nama je yang akan issue bond. So company like Petronas, Maybank for example, they are the one yang akan issue bond. Sebab bila kita cerita pasal bond issuance, dia mesti datang daripada company yang trusted, okay, trusted and have strong fundamentally. So, contohnya Maybank subsidiary cancelled bond issuance. So this was 3 days ago. So even Maybank pun depends on the issuance. By the way, kalau conventional kita panggil bond, kalau yang Islamic punya kita panggil dia sukuk. So contohnya macam ni, Boosted Holdings, dia issue sukuk 2 billion ringgit. Okay. So these are the bonds ataupun sukuk punya market lah, you can explore. Kalau nak cerita.
Transaction online untuk beli bond tu ada ke?
Tak ada. Bukan tak ada lah. I mean, to be honest with you, bonds ni selalunya as individual is sometimes susah kita nak tap into this because mostly companies akan subscribe to this bond first. So that's why untuk kita nak dapatkan access untuk bond punya investment ni, selalunya kita akan dapat hanya melalui indirect investment. Indirect investment meaning kalau kita invest in unit trust ataupun kita invest in managed funds, then kat situ baru dia orang invest in bonds. Because selalunya institutions yang manage to invest in bond ni lah. Okay, individual susah sikit nak access. So that's why when you ask ada tak online nak beli bond, not directly.
Okay, thank you sir.
Alright. Okay, so the coupon will be paid by borrower to the investor on annual basis. It can be annually or semi-annually as I said. And at the maturity, baru dia akan bayar principal at one lump sum amount. So kalau dia pinjam 100 million ni, so at maturity dia akan bayar principal 100 million in total. Okay, so that's how it works lah for bonds. So two parties, the nature dia akan, investor akan bayar ataupun beli. They will buy the investment from company A, and company A in returns will pay back the coupon and also principal. Particular terms. Contohnya apa? What kind of terms are you referring to? Oh, syarat. Terms and conditions. In terms of terms and conditions, similar like any other investment. Cuma, like I said lah, the access untuk tap into the bond market tu usually more accessible to the non-individual, the institutional investors. For individual like us ni quite difficult to tap into. Kita tak ada access directly untuk jual beli ni.
Noted, sir.
Okay. So this will be the principles of the bond price. As similar like shares, the price of the bond can fluctuate, meaning the price can goes up and down. Okay, so besides the demand and supply, but most of the time it will be caused by demand and supply lah. Okay, but the price movement we can look into two different angles. Number one, when the price of the bond become premium, and number two, if it's discount bond. So what's the difference? Remember the par value tadi. Par value dia 1,000 kan? 1,000 ringgit. So when we set it's a premium bond, it means that the price or the market value goes above par value. So meaning the price is more than 1,000 ringgit. This would be our premium bond. Okay. And for discount bond, dia the other way around lah. So dia akan berada pada harga bawah 1,000 ringgit, below the par value. And why this happen, go above or below 1,000 ringgit? Because of the difference between market rates dengan the bonds coupon rate. Remember bonds coupon rate fixed. However, market interest rate akan berubah depending on time. So there's a point in time whereby the market interest can be below or above the bonds coupon rate, akan menyebabkan the price of bond to be changed lah, either increase or decrease. So you can see in this way. So let's say the price is 1,000 ringgit, the par value, and the bond coupon is 10%, katakanlah 10%. Imagine if you invest in that particular bond dia punya rate is 10%. And remember, it will be fixed. Let's say this is 20 years, ni end 20 years. And on the right hand side here, kita ada market interest rate. When we set market interest rate, this is comparative rates. Maknanya kalau kita nak invest dekat dalam market, inilah investment yang lain offers this kind of rates, 8, 9, 11, 12 comparatively. Tapi kalau bond, dia fix 10%. Katakanlah when you launch during year 0 ni dia harga RM1,000 kan, and the rate is 10% fixed. However, if the market interest rates is going down, so maknanya invest in bond you dapat 10%, tapi kalau dekat investment yang lain, the maximum ataupun the average returns would be at 8% sahaja. Okay, this is the best. Selain daripada bond ni tadi other investment is only 8%. So what will be the impact towards bond? People will try to get this bond. Interest on this bond will be high sebab invest kat tempat lain dapat 8% je, tapi kalau you invest dekat bond ni you get 10%. So obviously the demand for this will be high because you can get higher returns kat sini. And automatically because of lower interest lower interest rate for markets, the price of bond akan increase. Okay, and that's why dia jadi premium bond kat sini. Okay, so the price increase lah daripada 1,000 ni because of the other, this is from others from other investment yang offer lower rates, so dia akan price shoot up above 1,000 ringgit. Similarly, kalau other instruments yang offer higher return, kalau tadi lower, kalau other investment offer 12%, so demand untuk bond akan kurang sebab why we need to invest in bonds? Sebab kita boleh dapat 12% somewhere else. So what happened to the bond? Bond akan reduce in terms of demand. And automatically dia akan bring down the price of bond. Okay, the price of bond ni akan turun because of other rates of return in the market. Okay, so this is how the behavior of a bond affected from the price ataupun the returns from other instruments in the market for that particular time. So this movement akan menyebabkan harga naik dan turun lah for the bond. However, at the end of the day, if you remember I said, after maturity ataupun at maturity, the price of bond akan go back to 1,000 ringgit. So regardless dia pernah naik sampai 1,200 pun, okay, during maturity dia akan go back to 1,000. Similarly kalau dia reduce, reduce pun sama jugalah. Walaupun dia dah drop sampai 800 katakan, at maturity dia akan bounce back to 1,000 ringgit because at maturity the issuer akan bayar full based on the coupon ataupun based on the par value, full 1,000 ringgit. So kalau dia pinjam 100 million, so dia akan bayar balik 100 million at maturity. Okay, walaupun price dia dah pernah naik birth 1000 ringgit ataupun below, regardless dia akan bayar full 1000 ringgit each. Additionally, ada lagi ni.
Sir, minta maaf nak tanya.
Okay, boleh.
Okay. Macam yang saya cakap tadi, kalau in bonds dia fix kan interest dia, right? So maksudnya macam 10% every
10% of principal.
settlement.
10% of principal. Dia bukan 10% of the current price. 10% of principal. That's why principal dia fix 1,000. Par value is always 1,000. However, the market price can change. So the return yang 10% is always based on par value. Sebab par value dia tak akan berubah. But the price can change. So that's why when we talk about the coupon yang fix tu tadi, that's why we always take the coupon rate against the par value. Sebab par value dia fix 1,000 ringgit.
Oh, maksudnya every month kita akan
Every year.
dapat every year kita akan dapat 10%, tapi amounting tu
10%.
tak tahu berapa.
Tak tahu. It's always based on 1,000.
Oh, okay.
So even though the price goes up to 1,002 katakan that year, you still get 10% of 1,000. It's not based on current price. They always based on par value. Untuk coupon untuk return tu.
Okay, faham. Thank you, sir.
Cuma kalau harga dia naik 1,002, if you want to get fast profit, you jual lah. You can sell at 1,002 walaupun you beli 1,000 tadi kan. You can sell at 1,000.
Mana sir?
Sir, tiba-tiba keluar.
Line lag kot. Kata hujan.
Maybe kot. Sekarang Syirah kelik ni.
Tak kot kena call sir.
Take five.
Dah ada nombor sir ke?
Sir, tak buka mic.
Okay, so together with the PM and the price. Okay, call price. So call price consists of par value, which is again 1,000 ringgit, and the premium, which is to compensate the bondholders. Okay, the rest nanti baca je lah. So the types of securities I nak cerita, basically there are two categories of bonds saja. First is known as secured. Okay, secured bond. When we set secured bond, basically it means that it's backed by pledge collateral. Maksudnya kat sini with cagaran. Maknanya with assets secured as collateral. So here you can see lah, there's a few types of secured bond, macam contohnya mortgage bond. So when we set about mortgage bond, it means that the bond will be backed by real estate ataupun properties. Okay, collateral trust bond backed by securities, for example. Equipment trust certificates are backed by pieces of equipment such as airplanes. So contohnya macam kalau Air Asia last time nak issue bond, contohnya. So Air Asia akan gunakan equipment trust certificates and dia akan gunakan airplanes sebagai cagaran. So meaning if Air Asia cannot, fulfill their obligations to pay the interest and also the principal, the airplanes can be used as collateral. So dia akan liquidate lah airplanes tu untuk bayar balik. So secure bond, the name pun secure kan. So meaning as an investor, we know our investment is backed by certain assets. So maknanya lagi secure lah. Okay, for our investment. Nanti baca lah, mortgage back lah, collateral semua ni. Second type is unsecured. So for unsecured, there will be no assets. So the only thing that they promise ataupun they back is by promise. Just like kalau bank punya loan, so you will nampak lah ada bank with collateral, bank without collateral punya loans. Macam contoh kalau you take hire purchase atau mortgage, automatically kereta dengan rumah itu jadi collateral. Tapi kalau you ambil personal loan, there's no collateral. So they just ada promise je you nak bayar balik. So similar like this one lah. So unsecured ni meaning there's no assets involved and it's just based on promise and good faith of the issuer. So that's why between the two, secured dengan unsecured, secured ni kita panggil dia juga sebagai mana tadi terms senior bonds. Whereas kalau unsecured kita panggil dia junior bonds. Okay, junior bonds. So the difference, like I said lah, hanyalah backed by collateral or not. And from investors' point of view, obviously kita akan lagi rasa selamat kalau kita invest in secured bond because kita ada collateral. Kalau maknanya company tu cannot pay back to us, they have assets back. Okay, if anything bad happen to the company lah. Ada zero coupon bond juga, whereby there's no, when we set zero coupon, it means the coupon is 0%, meaning there's no interest. And zero coupon doesn't mean it's Islamic bond. It just means that the bond tak ada returns. However, how investor makes money? Because the price of the bond, masa dijual tu, the original price, dia akan jual as a discount bond. So meaning dia akan jual very cheap during the launch. Okay, dia akan jual, the at maturity dia akan bayar 1,000 kan. So meaning for zero coupon bond dia akan jual very cheap, maybe katakanlah 700 ringgit dia jual. And we know throughout the time dia akan goes up nanti 1,000 ringgit. However, every year there will be no interest, no coupon. Okay, and the value will increase over time sampailah dia reach 1,000 at maturity. Itu je lah the zero coupon bond. So as an investor, it's either you wait until maturity to get this 300 ringgit difference, contohnya lah 300 ringgit, or else you can sell to others as well in the market and the price akan naik lah. The nearer to the maturity, the nearer the price to RM1,000. Okay, the smaller your margin of returns. Okay, nanti baca lah ni kot advantages. There are two parts kat sini. First, advantages for the issuer, and second is from the investor. So don't get confused between the issuer and also the investor. Okay, and this convertible bond, like I said, it will be discussed in details in our second section of bond next week ataupun next meeting. So this convertible bond is basically allows investor to convert. Okay, you beli bond, however, you have the opportunity to convert into shares. Okay, into shares. Okay, again, kita akan discuss more about convertible bonds in our next meeting. Right, so this would be the valuations of bond, how to value bonds. So like I said, we have a few measurements, and this would be the first one. Okay, it is known as bond valuation ataupun value of bond, VB. So remember tadi at the very beginning dalam process of selection of portfolios, we're going to compare what we call as the intrinsic ataupun the real value, and we compare against the market price. Okay, so the market price tu easily accessible. Kita boleh check the market price online ataupun published by the issuer. However, the actual price, it all depends on our measurements. Kita kena calculate sendiri the VB ni. Okay, so in order to get this valuation of bonds ataupun value of bond VB, we have to measure by having this formula. So we have C, which is the coupon payment. Okay, and if you remember, I dah bagi tahu tadi, the coupon payment is based on the coupon rates, berapa percent, multiply with the par value. Okay, not by market price, by par value, which is RM1,000. And this coupon payment will be fixed. Kalau 10 years, 10 years lah. Okay, coupon rate tadi contohnya 6% yang cakap kan. So this 6% darat RM1,000, RM60, and that's is based on one certificate. Okay, and we have to divide by M. Okay, and this M thingy yang nampak kat sini, M ni semua ni, is only applicable kalau the payments of coupon ni berlaku any other than annually. So meaning, if it's annually, okay, if it's annually, M would be setahun sekali. So M equivalent to one time. Okay, it will be one time. Tapi kalau dia semi-annually, okay, our M would be two times. So payment dia akan berlaku 2 kali setahun. So if it's any other than annually, semi-annually ke ataupun quarterly, you have to make adjustments. Okay, you have to make adjustments. So for example, kalau C, you have to divide by 2, for example, kalau semi-annually. PVIFA ni you have to divide, the K ni you have to divide by 2 juga kalau semi-annually. However, the N, the maturity ni, times the maturity ni, you have to multiply by 2. Okay, however, kalau dia annually, you don't have to worry about anything sebab semuanya hanyalah bagi 1, darab 1. So there's no changes. It's only applicable M ni if any other than annually. I repeat any other than annually. Okay, kalau quarterly for example, we know lah, M dia equals to 4 contohnya. So M represent how many times coupon payment in 1 year. So by the way, when we talk about bond, tak ingat I share ke tak dengan you table ni, tapi tak apa. I will share with you the table later. Kita kena refer to the table untuk cari PVIFA ataupun PVIF table. Right, and we have K's and also N. So what does it mean by K? K is the required rate of return, and N is how many years left to maturity. Okay, remember when we want to measure bond, it's not necessarily kita measure masa dia baru launch for 30 years katakan ataupun for 10 years. Kita boleh measure the value of bond at any point of time. Okay, so for us to measure for that particular time, kita kena tahulah pada tahun berapa lagi dia nak mature. So it will change the value of the bond from time to time. So when we want to compare, okay, the intrinsic value, remember this is the intrinsic value, the real value. We will compare against the market price. Okay, compare with the market price. So there are two scenarios here, whether it's undervalued or overvalued. So when we say the intrinsic value is more than the market price, lagi tinggi okay, when IV, intrinsic value, is more than market price, meaning IV is more expensive. Okay, the real value is more than the market price. Okay, so this is when it is undervalued. Okay, market price lagi murah daripada IV. Sebab IV lagi tinggi dari market price, automatically market price is cheaper. So when the market price is lower, this is undervalued. Okay, but if it's this way, intrinsic value is less than market price, meaning market price is higher. Okay, when market price is higher, this is overvalued. So as a recap, if it's overvalued, if you want to buy, this is the time for you to buy kalau undervalued. Tapi kalau you nak jual, you jangan jual. Okay, do not sell. Okay, kalau you are in the selling position. Okay, but for overvalued, okay, your decision is to not buy it. Okay, do not buy it because it's more expensive. Tapi kalau you nak jual, yes, please sell during overvalued positions because harga tengah mahal kan. So that's the best time for you to sell. You can sell at a premium price. Okay, I recap. This is either you buy or hold. Okay, or do not sell. Okay, but here jawapan you do not buy or you sell, depending on your situation. Either you are buyer or you are seller. Kalau buyer, ni buy. This one do not buy. Tapi kalau seller, you do not sell here, but you sell during overvalued. Okay, it all depends on question lah. You kena baca question carefully. Whether you are buyer or seller ataupun you just simply baru nak beli. Okay, you need to read the questions carefully. Okay, so let's look at the first question. I tak sure I bagi ke tak the table, tapi tak apa. Determine the value of 20 years bond. So we know the N is 20 years with 9.5% coupon. So C rate there, coupon rate there is 9.5% coupon with the yield at 12%. So this is our K 12%. Itu je information yang kita perlukan. Bear with me one second. We need a table when we do bond valuation. We need to have this. Okay. Kita ada, in fact, masa exam pun before, this is provided when we want to calculate the the interest factor ataupun the table tu. So if you refer tadi, we're gonna use PVIF. Okay, PVIF and also PVIFA. Okay, PVIFA. So I recap balik the valuation of bond tadi, formula dia, VB equals to coupon darab dengan PVIFA K and N plus the par value PVIF K and N. Okay, so this is how we measure the bond. Okay, and remember, I guna ni kalau dia annually. If it's semi-annually and others, I have to divide by M, K divide by M, N darab dengan M. If it's semi-annually, Tapi kalau annually, I just use this one. So based on the question earlier, dia berapa persen tadi 20%, 9.5 dengan 12. So the coupon is 9.5%. So coupon dia 9.5 So 9.5% multiply with 1,000 ringgit. So basically this is 95 ringgit. So the coupon is 95 ringgit. PVIFA. The K is the rate of return. Rate of return ni 12 tadi . Okay, so the K is 12%. And dia 20 years. Okay. And the par value always 1,000 ringgit. PVIF. Again, K is 12% and N is 20 years. So the one in the brackets is our reference from the table. PVIFA 12% 20, PVIF 12% 20. So what we need to do next is to refer to the respective tables, PVIFA and PVIF. Okay, mana table dia? So first we look at PVIFA. So how to read? So kalau yang tak ingat tu so you're gonna see 2 points. Okay, satu yang horizontal ni, the other one is the vertical. So the horizontal is the rates. Okay, remember we are focusing on the 12%. Okay, the 12%. And second, we were gonna see the N. So N dia adalah 20 years. So you cross-reference 12% and 20 years, it would be somewhere here. Okay, I highlight 12%, and then cross-reference dengan 20 years. So you get 7.4694. Okay, so you akan letak sini lah 7.4694. Okay, and then we add with 1,000. And now next refer to PVIF 12% and 20. Tadi PVIF A ada annuity. This one PVIF only. So look in the PVIF table. This one. PVIF ini, the word PVIF. The same thing. Look for 12% and 20 years. This one. 0.1037. Okay, 0.1037. And then solve using your calculators. 95 times 7.4694 plus 103.17. So here you get RM 830 ringgit and 29 cents. So this is the value of the bond now. Okay, the actual value lah. So if it's in the market, katakanlah sekarang the market jual 900 ringgit. If let's say if it's selling for 900 ringgit, if MP is 900 ringgit, so your IV akan lagi kecil atau lagi besar daripada 900. IV be lower than 900 ringgit, the market price lah. So if that's the case, if it's IV is lower than market price, this is overvalued. Okay, this would be overvalued. But if market price is 800 ringgit, katakanlah 800 ringgit, so IV is more than market price. So therefore, this is undervalued. So the decisions, you tahulah, kalau undervalued you buy, kalau overvalued you do not buy. Okay, so that's our first measurement. Okay, so next, quickly tengok for question number 2. Determine a 20-year bond. So again, originally N is 20 years with a 9% coupon. So this is the coupon rate, 9%. Again, the K is 12%. However, there's one additional information. The bond was issued 4 years ago. So meaning, when you want to determine the N, we cannot take 20 years because this was issued 4 years ago. It's not now. So meaning, kalau kita tengok ni tadi, 20 years, it was issued 4 years ago. So it is here. Di issue 4 years ago. Kat sini. So you are here now in 4th year. You bukan dekat sini macam soalan tadi ni. Dia just suruh kita calculate based on 20 years. And kalau untuk soalan pertama ni, kita assume kita dekat 0 lah. So we are here for question number 1. But for question number 2, they mentioned about the bond was issued 4 years ago. So we are not here. We are instead in year number 4. So therefore, to determine N, you can calculate the remaining ni. This remaining only. So meaning N in this case would be only 16 years. So you cannot use N as 20 as first question. So for question number 2, the N is actually 16 years. Okay, so therefore, to calculate the VB, for question number 2, question number 2, to calculate the VB, the coupon is 90 ringgit. How I get this 90 ringgit? Sebab dia punya rate is 9%. Okay, 9% times 1,000 is 90 ringgit. We look in the PVIFA table. The rate is 9% and the N, kalau tadi 20 soalan pertama, N was 20. Here, the K still 12%, but the N is 16 years. Okay, sebab it was issued 4 years ago. And then we add with 1,000. PVIF, 12%, 16 years. Okay, so you can see the difference. Tadi 12%, 20 years, but kita guna 20 years from the start. But for this time around, kita dah move ataupun kita dah bergerak 4 years because it was issued 4 years ago. So we left with 16 years to go. Okay, remember the formula, the original formula pun N2 refers to, okay ni N2 refers to years remaining to maturity. Okay, so so if we go back to this table, so 90 ringgit sebab dia 9% tadi. First we look at the PVIFA table, the original table yang kita guna tadi, PVIFA ni PVIFA. Now we refer to 12%, still 12%, but at the 16th year. So 12% 16 is this part, 6.9740. Okay, and we add with 1,000, the par value, and refers to the second table, PVIF. Similarly, look at 12% and 16 years. So this part, it's 0.1631. So here you get the value of bond of 790 ringgit and 76 cents. Okay, so this is for question number 2. 790 ringgit and 76 cents. Alright, so you can try others juga. Cuma macam contohnya ni semi-annually When we talk about semi-annually, the K ataupun we start with C. C you kena divide by 2. The K you kena divide by 2. And the N you kena darab dengan 2. So what does it mean? The coupon, let's say 8% sepatutnya RM80. 8% times 1,000 is RM80. But C, you have to divide by 2. So therefore, when you calculate VB, okay, the RM80 ni akan slash into 2 RM40 saja. Okay, because 8%, you have to divide by 2. And your PVIFA, the K supposedly 12%. And again, K you have to divide by 2 kan. So your point of reference jadi 6% saja. And the N yang 15 years ni, you have to multiply by 2. So you can refer to 30. So what's the difference? Just to share with you, nanti you calculate sendiri. Table ni. Sorry, not this table. This table. PVIFA. So original dia tadi berapa again? 15.8. Sorry, 12 and 15. 12 and 15 to 6 to 30. Okay, so the original point was PVIFA, original dia 12%, 15 tahun. Patutnya ni value dia. PVIF, sorry. PVIFA. Sama je tapi tak apa. Kita tengok PVIFA. The original was 12% and 15 years. Ni, patutnya yang ni. 12%, 15 years. Ni kalau annually. However, since this semi-annually, the K and then N kita kena adjust. The K we slash by 2, maknanya kita bahagi 2, kita tinggal 6%. However, the N yang 15 years tu, you multiply by 2. So, jadi 30. So, here, 6% ke 30, dia akan jadi kat sini. So, you can see lah the difference from 12, 15 years kepada 6%, 30 times. Tengok dia highlight semua pula lah, tapi tak apa. Boleh undo. Rotate ni. Never mind lah. You can check it here, PVI. So we are actually using this amount instead, 13.765. So that's the purpose of the adjustment that we have to make. Okay. Yeah, I think masih tak cukup lah. So kita stop dulu sampai sini for the bond valuations. We just stop until the intrinsic value, the VB. For our next meeting, we want to continue dengan 3 other measurements. We have current yields, we have YTM, we have YTC, and on top of that, we have the convertible bond as well. So ada CY, current yield, ada YTM, ada YTC, and after that, we go straight to convertible bond. So we will try to finish everything of topic number 4 during our meeting number 2 weeks from now. Right, ada soalan. So don't forget, for those yang tak record lagi your attendance, please do so. You have until 4:15 to do. And once the video available, like I said, I will share again the videos. So that's about it for today. Hopefully, I'll see you guys 2 weeks from now to complete the topic number 4 ni, the bond ni. Memang kita akan habiskan our second meeting with bond valuation saja, sampailah habis, sampailah convertible bond. And after that, in week 3 nanti barulah kita akan go through the next topic, topic 5 onwards. Okay, any other questions? Call price ni tadi dah jawab ke? I tak check pula your chat tadi ni. Call price, call premium. Call premium tu, as I said is a compensation that you have to pay if you want to call early. So issuer kena bayar extra to the bondholders, and the call price tu adalah call premium plus par value. So kalau premium dia katakanlah RM50, so meaning call price would be RM1,050 together with the premium. Okay, sebab par value is always RM1,000 fixed. Okay, so bila kita calculate YTC ni here to call, kita akan go through again lah the call premium ni, sebab kita akan includes the premium as part of our calculators. Yes, par value is always 1,000. Always. Yang berubah hanyalah market price. Okay, so the purpose of par value ada dua. Satu, when we want to calculate the coupon, sebab coupon rate is always based on 1,000 regardless of the market price. And the maturity amount dia mesti 1,000 juga. Even though the market price fluctuates, premium discount, at maturity the price will go back to 1,000 juga. So that's the purpose of par value. Okay, always. Why must? Memang harga dia 1,000. Par value tu adalah harga asal. Harga the nominal cost of the certificate. Formula semua sama. What does it mean by semua? Kalau rendah, market price dia lah yang akan turun. Market price can drop 1,000. Market price can go above 1,000. But the par value will not change. Like I said lah, the purpose of par value is to determine berapa ringgit kupon tu. Okay, the coupon tak akan berubah ikut market price. Dia bukan harga market price naik, kupon you akan dapat lebih dalam tu, tak. Remember, the concept of bond is a fixed return. Okay, so that's why they always based on 1,000 ringgit. Formula sama tu, saya tak tahu macam nak jawab. Formula apa yang sama? Setiap jenis valuation tu akan ada different formula lah, obviously. But in terms of kalau nak calculate value of bond, regardless dia annually, semi-annually, then formula dia sama lah. Tapi untuk valuation lain lah, untuk value of bond, valuation of bond lain, YTM lain, YTC lain, current yield lain. Okay, but for different scenarios, it will be the same formula lah untuk setiap satu tu. Price. Kalau jual beli bond tu, ikut time lah. Kalau you beli sekarang, katakanlah dia launch last year kan. Last year dia launch 1,000 ringgit. But today, because of the demand, harga bond naik, katakan this year. So kalau you nak beli, you tak boleh beli dengan company tau. You have to buy from other investors. Company tu dah tak jual lah. Bond jual pada masa dia launch. If you want to buy, you have to buy from other investors. So if you want to buy from other investors, so kalau demand tengah tinggi, so dia boleh jual pada harga yang lagi tinggi. So you have to pay more lah in order to get that bond from other investors. Tapi kalau demand tak ada, and you want to buy and that person desperate for money, for example, so they can sell for lower price, then you belilah pada harga lagi murah. However, remember, the value of bond tu, walaupun you beli pada harga murah, value dia is 1,000 ringgit actually. Okay, similar kalau you bayar lebih pun, if you pay more, again, the value of return tu is based on 1,000 juga. Okay, so the underlying value of that certificate is always 1,000. So that's why I said tadi, par value dia memang always 1,000 ringgit.
So macam bond tu kan dia based on company ke macam mana?
Sana.
Kalau bond tu dia based on company tu ke macam mana? Dia punya market price tu.
Dia depends on, macam saya bagi contoh tadi lah, the price movement tu tadi is based on the market. Kalau market rate tengah rendah tapi bond offer rate yang tinggi, so demand untuk bond tu akan jadi tinggi. So dia depends on company jugalah, company and also the market. Borrower tak kisah investor bertukar tangan, borrower tak kisah. Dia tak ada impact dah. For them, dia jual pada launch je. Remember, as a company jual bond today, katakan today I want 100 million. Okay, I dah jual 100 million and then bila orang lain semua dah beli, the first batch of investor ni dah beli, I get that 100 million. So that investor tu, tiba-tiba dia nak jual to other investors, I tak akan dapat apa-apa duit. Dia yang akan bertukar tangan dia antara investors. I will just pay whoever owns the certificate pada value tu. So for me as a borrower, I don't mind who are the investors. Because financially, it will not affect me. Bukan bila dia jual, I tak dapat any funds anymore. I just dapat masa during my first sales tu sahaja. Okay, so that's the purpose pun why we have secondary market, so that the first investor tu nanti kalau tak, you kena tunggu 10 tahun, 20 tahun baru you dapat balik your cash kan. So sometimes masa you beli tu you ada cash, ada extra fund. Tapi after a few years maybe you need money. So takkan you nak kena tunggu lagi 10 tahun baru you dapat balik your principal kan. So the secondary market allows you to sell to others. That's the purpose of secondary market lah. So that you can sell earlier. Okay, besides nak dapat profit, sometimes for liquidity purpose lah, you kena jual to other investors. Okay. Principal yang kena bayar balik accumulate. Principal dia fix. Kalau katakan I pinjam 100 million tadi kan, so I have to pay back 100 million je lah. And I pay lump sum.
Sir, nak tanya.
Yeah.
Macam saya cakap tadi, investor contoh dia nak pakai duit, dia jual dekat
Investor yang lain.
investor yang lain kan. So antara company A ni dia bila dah maturity date tu dia akan pay kepada investor yang lain tu ke?
Yes, kena bayar ke investor lain lah. So dia, everything akan recorded. Dia beli macam jual beli biasa. Every transaction tu akan recorded. So the borrower tadi, the issuer tu akan tahulah who are the new owners.
Okay, faham.
Macam beli kereta kan, ownership tu kena transfer lah. Kalau tak nanti macam mana dia nak tahu kan. So yeah, dia akan bayar kepada owner yang baru. As long as dia berlaku officially lah, documented semua. Yeah, something like that lah.
Means bond ni just untuk company-company besar je lah. Just untuk personally kita tak ada kan, betul?
Imagine kalau company kecil jual bond, do you believe dia boleh bayar balik kat you ke tak? Itu je. That's why selalunya bond ni akan di-issue only by big companies because we believe they have the capacity untuk bayar balik. Bayangkan company yang kita tak berapa kenal nak issue bond, will you willing to buy their bonds? As simple as that lah. Mesti kita tak berani, boleh ke dia bayar balik duit kita, sebab technically bila kita beli tu kita bagi pinjam sebenarnya. Kan saya cakap tadi kan, as a lender, we are lending money for them. And they have to pay back the coupon and they have to pay the principal at maturity. So kalau dia tak ada capability untuk bayar balik, so there's a risk kat situ. So that's why satu elemen yang mungkin saya tak cerita tadi, every bond in Malaysia kena melalui rating process. Dia akan ada rating. So company macam tadi lah, Maybank, Petronas, dia punya rating selalunya tinggi lah. So lesser known companies, selalunya rating dia akan jadi lagi rendah sikit. And still, players yang ada dalam bond market ni selalunya those yang ada nama lah, yang ada bukan sekadar popular, in the sense nama tu bukan popular, maknanya dia ada fundamentally strong financially. Dia ada finance yang kukuh, historical background yang you know yang lama, dia bukan company-company yang baru lah. So all the big companies, macam kalau kat Malaysia ni kita ada those yang listed dalam KLCI tu kan, yang top 30 companies in the country tu tu memang commonly yang akan issue bonds in the country lah. Okay.
Nak tanya lah.
Yeah.
Pasal rating tu siapa yang rate dia? Adakah investor tu juga yang rate?
Tak. Kita dalam not only Malaysia, dalam satu dunia ni kita ada rating agency. Okay, rating agency dia is an institution. Okay, kalau kat Malaysia kita ada dua rating agencies. Kita ada RAM and kita ada MARC, MARC. Okay, tu kalau Malaysian company lah. Okay, I type kat sini RAM or MARC. Ni kalau Malaysian. Tapi kita ada juga international rating agencies. You kenal lah, Fitch, Moody's, and Poor. Ni international. Ni I type kat sini. Okay, kita ada Fitch, Moody's dengan Standard & Poor. So ni contoh 5 company yang rates. Okay, kalau tak you Google je. I tak sure I masih share ke tak slide ni. Sekejap since you're asking about this. Industri apa, credit rating punya score lah ni, score pula, company yang rates. So dia bukan rate bond saja, dia rate a lot of things. anything got to do with economic, financial industry, dia akan rates bond, suku, everything lah. So nak kena cari lah kat dalam ni kalau nak tengok dia punya score. Nak cari sekarang mungkin tak sempat lah, tapi you can browse nantilah, cari dia punya ratings kat sini. Sini ke? Tak nampak lah kat sini. So dia adalah cerita pasal cuma apa, dia ada RAM, dia ada mark macam tu dia tadi. Dia ada, kalau international tadi so GLC. So dia rating agencies. Kerja dia memang mereview dengan rates issuance sahaja. Bukan bond sajalah, it can be shares, pasal overview of the country. You akan nampak rating macam dia kata okay, AA ratings contohnya, ataupun triple A ratings, something like that. So that rating menunjukkan how strong fundamentally bond tu. So kalau rating dia tinggi, menunjukkan bond tu secure. So kalau rating dia rendah, then ada possibility yang bond tu default. So yeah, that's one element yang mungkin I tak cerita tadi lah, cerita mengenai rating agency. So setiap bond yang nak di-issue kena melalui proses ni. So maknanya sebagai investor, sebelum kita nak beli ataupun invest in that particular investment, kita boleh tengoklah score dia, AA, triple A, whatever lah.
Jual beli bonds ni macam mana?
Agent,
Maksudnya
ada agent.
issue.
Dia akan melalui,
kena ada agent.
dia akan ada agent jugalah. Bank, selalunya still banks jugalah, investment banks maybe.
Ya, macam kalau stok kan kita dalam Malaysia, bursa Malaysia macam saya kata tadi. So
Bond
kalau
mesti ada bursa Malaysia. Dalam bursa Malaysia dia ada banyak subsidiary. So kalau bond ni dia ada dalam bursa punya subsidiary jugalah. Still under bursa.
alright, so thank you.
Alright. Ada lagi? Alright, so kalau tak ada, again, thank you very much for your participations and questions. So insyaAllah I'll see you guys 2 weeks from now, 25th, our next meeting. Kita akan try to finish our bond new topics lah in our next meeting. Alright, thank you again and Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, sir. Salam.
Thank you, sir.